Peace, everybody. What's up? It's your brother, Mr. Holism. I apologize for the late start. I was having some technical issues. My system froze up on me. It wouldn't allow me to get in, but I'm here. Peace to everybody. I'm probably going to be doing this by myself because it looks like my BAIO family is very busy. Nobody has been responding to anything today. So I guess this is one of those weekends when everybody's doing their own thing. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. I just want to alert everybody that I'm on so I'm just not rambling by myself, because that's not cool. Okay. Alrighty. What is this live stream about today? Well, if you looked at the thumbnail, which I thought was kind of funny, the topic of this live stream is called New Jack Consciousness. And the description reads as such. Why is it that the people who just discovered Black African Cultural Consciousness a hot minute ago position themselves as the realists and the most uncompromising people in the room? Do these people believe they are more qualified than people who have scars from battling the hypocrisy and contradictions of the so-called conscious community and burning the midnight oil for land, infrastructure, and nationhood for decades? Join the BAIO as we tackle the subject of New Jack Consciousness. Now, what made me talk about this? I don't want to give the impression that things were solved 30 years ago or 60 or whatever amount of years ago you want to do by people that's been actively involved in this whole struggle, this whole not going back and forth and the ideological differences and pushes for nationhood, empowerment, Black empowerment, whatever you want to call it, Black people being empowered. Everybody's had their own take on that or how they feel that should go down. So I don't want to give the impression that everything came before me was A-OK and what is up with these upstarts because we was doing it fine. No, it's not that. That's not the issue. I always look at things from my perspective as, if you put me in a position where I don't know something, what do I do? That's how I just look at things. So I'm not being unfair. What would Hollop do in a situation? So when I was coming up and I didn't know shit, didn't know my culture, didn't know my history, I was very curious about our people and our people historically. Like, I'm looking and seeing Black folks in the position that they were in. And keep in mind, this is all before I even read a book or studied anything. It was just innate, seeing the way that we were treated, seeing white people's position in society, and me as a Black person going, why is it that we're in Brownsville and Bed-Stuy and East New York and whatever? This is from the New York perspective because I wasn't in California. And these people are in Park Avenue and living in parts of Brooklyn where they have boats and shit. I don't know if y'all know that. There's parts of Brooklyn where they have, boats docked, and stuff. And I'm sitting up there. Why is these people living so good and our people is living in the hood? Why? Like, just something that was curious about that to me. So I went on the process. First, we went through the religious chamber, because that's the first thing. That's what we're surrounded by is, the Christianity and Islam and Hebrew and all the other religions and whatever. Going through those chambers, studying that, looking at the Bible, looking at the Quran, looking at stuff like that. And then we started learning about our history in Africa from scholars like Dr. Ben, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Clark. We started listening to Malcolm X, who basically was preaching an empowerment message, not a religious message. If you listen to what Malcolm X was talking about, and I think that's the reason why he connected with so many Black people outside of Islam, is that his message wasn't really about Islam. His message was more about empowerment. You know what I mean? Socioeconomic and political empowerment. Just listen to his speeches. So we got sent in that direction. And that's how we ended up going to the slave theater. So, peace, NDR. Peace. I'm sorry I'm running my mouth. I didn't even see you. So we ended up at the slave theater, and what made the slave theater so impactful for me, and I've often said this, that if it were not for the slave theater and the United African Movement, there would be no Mr. Holism. And that's a fact, because that place shaped me. And the thing about it, like I'm checking my behavior and I'm saying, how was I as a young man behaving in that forum? Was I going there with some knowledge that I just learned and beating people over the head and telling them how, you don't know what you're doing, you compromise, I'm the one that's keeping it real. Y'all have this standard of Blackness that's not acceptable to me, New Jack, who just came into the knowledge. No, I shut the fuck up, sat in the goddamn seat, and listened to people who knew way more than I did, who not only knew more in terms of data, but had more knowledge and wisdom than me. Do you imagine if I had gone to the slave theater and had an argument with Amos Wilson? I went to slave theater and had an argument with Alton Maddox. And keep in mind, there were some things that I wanted to hip Alton Maddox to before it happened, and he wasn't really receptive to it. To keep it real. But what does that mean? Does that mean that now all of a sudden, I don't respect him no more? That's not somebody that was influential in my life and the way that I look at reality? No. Because I have some level of maturity. So what I find is you got a whole lot of people who get into this knowledge and then they become blackety black, super black, and now they are the fucking gatekeepers of Blackness, and you just got into the knowledge like a hot fucking minute ago. Who the fuck are you? And most of the time, these people, it's like they're not active within any of the circles that they have so much strong opinions about. They don't interact with people. They don't contribute their talents to any type of movement. What they basically do is sit on the sidelines and commentate. And these are the people that are gatekeepers of Blackness. These are the people. I tell you, it's been so many people that I've come across in the short time that I've been involved. It's been 30 years, but to me, that's short. There's people that's been here long, been involved in this shit longer than that. And it's just amazing to me that I can honestly say that the people that are in this because of the love of their people and because they want to see a future for African people are few and far between. The vast majority of the people that I've run into that's in these circles are only interested in being the most intelligent one in the room and the deepest nigga with the knowledge. I'm telling you. Hold on. Yo, Jabari, did you want to come in?
Oh no, I was waiting. I was waiting for you, letting you do your thing, and then I'll come in and speak whenever. But yeah, Holla, we just had that encounter. We just had that encounter just a few minutes ago. You were there.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't hear everything, but I heard some of it.
And that's an example of people who think they know everything and
because it's not really about, well, you know what, let me not speak on that, because since I didn't hear everything, I don't want to, give
you
an
heard a
opinion
lot. You
one
heard a
way or
good chunk of
another.
it. And that's what the rest of it was. Yeah.
But what I will say is this: it seems to me that that's the most important thing to people. Like, I get to say, now you tell me, Jabbar, you've been around me for a while. Do you get the impression that my purpose for being on these live streams is to show how deep Hollop is?
No.
I hope that anybody gets that impression from me. Please tell me, because that's not what I try to get people together so we can get on the same page and get something done together collectively. I don't give a shit about being knowledgeable. As a matter of fact, I say it all the time. I don't know. There's so much stuff that we engage in. It is way beyond my pay grade. I'm not an architect. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to build a bridge. I just know that one needs to be built. And I long for the day where we have so many intelligent, skilled people within our ranks that I ain't even got to open up my goddamn mouth. But do you get that impression when you listen to the people that are talking the most?
No, the people that talk the most are the most toxic. They act like they are the epicenter, the epitome of Black consciousness. And it's like, no, that is subjective. That is not objective. You acting like you this deep don't mean anything. You're not providing us jobs. You're not providing us anything. You're just trying to sound good. And I don't care about that.
Yeah, it's really annoying, and that's why I said I came up with the term New Jack Consciousness, because that's what it is. Most of these people, because if you've been in this for as long as I have, you don't do that. You don't, because you already know how toxic that behavior is. So what you want to do is let everybody know, because we have people within our ranks who just talk over people, railroad them, and don't give them an opportunity to express themselves. So what you're basically saying when you do that is, my voice is more important than yours. So you just shut up and listen to me.
It's even more sinister. It's not just my voice is more important. Is I know what's better than you do. You don't really know what's best for you. I need to be the one that says, because you don't know no better.
Yeah, I did hear one thing that you had said, that, or like something in the interaction that I thought was telling.
But just the way this man came in was problematic.
Yeah, I missed that. I got like toward the end of it. But one thing that you said that was telling was that, on one hand, he seemed to be complaining about dictators and then supportive of dictators.
You literally said she's an authoritative librarian, but you support dictatorships. So you're projecting, you're just doing sheer projection. Just the energy you're coming in. And this is what pro-Black people do all the time. This is why I don't claim myself to be pro-Black. This is why I don't claim myself to be part of the conscious community. All they do is sheer projection. It's through and through projection.
Yeah. Like, when it comes to Liberia, and we just focus on that, I want to have a dialogue with Liberians.
Exactly.
I want to have a dialogue with Liberians. I want to have a talk with Liberians. And I don't mind tough talks. I don't mind tough talks because
Exactly.
there's some stuff. I know that there's been some stuff said that you probably are like biting your tongue your lip to try to rebut that's been said about American Liberians.
Or Congos, because the American Liberians is outside the term that I've
Right,
constantly recruited.
right, and it doesn't mean that that is any hatred or any malice, but some things are just misinformation.
Hmm. And one of the things that I tell people is even if I disagree, I always like to come from a respectful manner because
Right,
it's not about what you say, it's how you say it, how you come across. There are Liberians who have disagreed with my opinion, but we disagree cordially and we're able to build constructively. We're able to do something that is productive. We're not tearing each other down. We're not calling each other names ad hominems because I disagree. Because both things can be true. Listen, we can say, listen, there were some African American presidents, Congo presidents that did wrong. Okay, we can also recognize that yeah, there were indigenous Liberians who worked with African Americans, and there were indigenous Liberians who wanted to undermine the Liberian state. All can be true. And
right.
and they even Liberians have even said it wasn't just about American Liberians. It wasn't about African Americans, excuse me, or Congo. I'm not using the word American Liberian because that is a Western term by a white man who said that black were emotional.
Right, because
So I'm not using the term American.
that term always confused me. Wasn't a Liberian in existence for like 100, almost 160 years or something like that?
They refer to themselves strictly as Liberians or Congos. They were African captives. So I'm not using the
But
word American.
wasn't that the time frame before 1980?
Yeah,
It was about 160, right?
yes.
So why are you still calling them American Liberians? That
Western
makes no
academics.
sense to me.
Western academics. What Liberian historians have been telling people over and over again that American Liberian is an outdated Western term. It is not a term that is used by Liberians. It wasn't used in the country. It wasn't used by African Americans slash Congo people when the African Americans after African captives merged together. It wasn't used. They were called Congo people.
Right, and it makes no sense. The term makes no sense because you have generations born there,
Mm-hmm.
generations. So then what is this Americo stuff coming from?
And like I tell people, I have evidence. If folks think I'm lying that Americo Liberian is not a Western term, I literally have proof and evidence of it. So
You want to show
literally,
it?
yes, literally. So
You want to
it
show it? You
goes
can
back.
show it if you want.
It goes back to 1881. It's the person's name is George. I think George Stetson is his name. This is 1881. This is the Liberian Republic. Oh, sorry, excuse me. This is the Liberian Republic as it is. And you see, I highlighted the words right there. He refers to them as Americo Africans. Then you look down here, it says in 1878, the Americo Liberians. Okay? That is in 1881. Now, I have further evidence to show that African Americans prior to that were not called Americo Liberians. I have a book that was written by an actual Liberian, an African American by the name of Benjamin J.K. Anderson. And it's called The Narrative of the Journey of Masardu. Sorry, narrative that's the gist of what it's called. Let me get the full name.
Mhm.
Narrative of a Journey to Masardu, the capital of the Western Mandingos. Okay, so I'm about to show my screen again. So this was written by an African American, Benjamin J.K. Anderson, who was under the administration of Daniel Basher Warner. Now, Daniel Basher Warner is the third president of Liberia. So with Joseph Jenkins Roberts, Stephen Allen Benson, and then Daniel Basher Warner, excuse me. And so if you read this book, this was written in 1870. So this was 11 years before, okay? And This book is very long. It's not long. It's like only 130 pages, but I gotta find exactly where they bring it up. But one of the things you will notice in the novel, and not in the novel, in the report of Benjamin J.K. Anderson's journey to the capital of Western Mandingos, is he always refers to the African Americans as strictly Liberians, and then the colonists refer to the African captives. Not one time in the book are African Americans referred to as Americo-Liberians. They are strictly referred to as Liberians and only as Liberians.
Mm-hmm.
Indigenous Liberians were referred to by their country or the kingdom in which they reside. So at this time, there wasn't a unified Liberia. And you see here, this is one example. Let me break it down. One example. It says right here, Town is in latitude 7 degrees, 3 minutes, 19 seconds in the western portion of the Gola country. So right there, they refer to them as the Gola country. Okay? And here's another example of a situation referring to Liberians. It says Bessa himself is a personage known to one of our best citizens, Mr. Gabriel Moore. Gabriel Moore is a Liberian citizen. He's an African American. So, once again, we see there is no usage of the word Americo-Liberian. Okay? We don't see that terminology. And I'm about to go find some more areas. I'm about to stop sharing my screen for a minute, but you see this again. They're not referred to as Americo-Liberians. They're just referred to as strictly Liberians with Congo captives. That's what they were. Like I said, that's why I bring this up. Then, Hollop, I also have more evidence to show you where that narrative of Americo-Liberians being quote unquote this ultra oppressive force. I'm about to show y'all where that comes from. It's from an African American. Okay, it's an African American who came up with this. So I need y'all to understand who it is. So this is the narrative of Journey to Massawa, the capital of West Mandingos, which is Benjamin J.K. Anderson. This is the book called Liberia, an Americo-African Republic. This is in 1886. So we see in the previous one, in 1881, Americo-Africans and Americo-Liberians are used. He takes, this black man in 1886, takes the same terminology. Okay? The Americo-African Republic, some impressions of the climate, resources, and people, personal observation and experience. Now, I need to read this first part, okay? Because this first part is so important, okay? This is what it needs. He says, this book is an honest endeavor to do some good. In it is nothing set down in malice. Okay, and yet its truths may be offensive to some. He said, in writing, however, I have never at any time paused for a moment to consider whether or not I shall please or displease anybody. My aim has been simply to set forth plainly and truthfully the situation as I found it in Liberia, as he found it. So as to give information which may be interest and possibly use to others. Many will criticize my work. Some will say I have minimized the difficulties attending life in West Africa and exaggerated the resources of the country. Others will urge that I have been too much of an apologist, that I have not told the whole truth. There may be some force in this latter criticisms. True, I have no mention the dishonesty and incompetency of political officials. Okay. Then he talks about the British government. So he says, I confess that I have left much unsaid from the necessary limits of a work of this kind. Okay. So he's telling you, don't take my words at face value. This is what I see. Now, the reason why I'm giving you all of this information is because I'm about to go. Yeah, there's a book called, yep, right, Liberia, the Afro-American Republic by an AA who was a judge in Liberia named Thomas McCants Stewart. Thank you, Michael McGarry. Exactly. And that's what we're going off right now. So, in this book, that, like I said, it's free, you can download it. I'm about to take y'all to the section where it says the people's relations. Okay? Now listen, Holla, like I said, take this man's word with a grain of salt. Now, I'm about to read you this and tell me if this is not textbook what the mainstream version of what they told Liberia, despite the fact that he said there are some truths he may not have told. Until within the past 10 years, the relations between the natives and the Negro immigrant from America has been that of a master and slave. The former American slave treated the African freeman as if he had no right, which were worthy of respect. And he puts an exclamation point. And that spirit has not altogether departed, although I'm glad to say it is disappearing. This fact of ill treatment of the natives by the immigrants is not so strange after all, for the oppressed, when given an opportunity, genuinely become the oppressors. The natives of Liberia have been to the immigrants from America just what these ex-slaves were to white people of the South. They have been defrauded, beaten with strips, and made to feel that they were inferior beings. They were excluded from churches and the schools, given back seats to the camp meetings if there were any to spare. And as to entering an immigrant's parlor or even front door, why a native would never dream of it. While much of this snobbish spirit has departed, and while it is decreasing, yet enough of it remains to make a decided impression upon the student of Liberian history and condition. I have seen a civilized native boy who had studied a few months in England frequently enter a house on a business errand by the back way, and the mistress of the house was a woman who cooked and washed in the United States for a living, wanted it to be distinctly understood that her front door was not to be used by country people, as the natives are sometimes called. Okay? Ain't this something we've heard before? Ain't this what we heard? The author had his casket wrapped in a Liberian flag when he died. And he died in the Virgin Islands. Now, he did get expelled by Daniel E. Howard. But I just want you guys to understand where things come from. What are the roots of them? Because people bring stuff up about Liberia and they don't get to the root of it. Okay? You have to understand where things come from. What viewpoint did they come from? This is why, like Holub said, we want to speak to people because there are different perspectives. Because this is written by an African American. There might be another African American who said this didn't happen. This was a disagreement. That wasn't what we saw. There could be indigenous Liberians. This is one man's perspective. And he uses the same words that George Stetson used, Americo-Africans. This is why it's so important to be open-minded, to learn everything, and to not be like you know it all. Because listen, I'm educated on Liberian history, but I'm willing to listen to any Liberian that has something they want to say. Their personal experience, what they went through. I have an open heart because I care, and I'm coming with good intentions. I'm not coming with malice. Because people are willing to learn, and Holla, you notice, energy. What is the energy you're giving off? If you're giving off good energy, people will love you. People will listen to you, and people are more likely to do stuff. When you come up with negative energy, nobody want to listen to you. Why would I? You come in with negative energy. Okay? So that's his opinion, what he thought it was. Sorry, Sudi. What he thought it was. He's telling you his opinion. Okay? And he goes down further and he talks about, and I'm going to bring this here to wrap it up because, like I said, there's a lot. It has about 10 pages. But in his final remarks, one of the things he said was they needed to assimilate. Right here, it says, direct and control and utilize the native material and throughout it to develop the country. The conditions for future prosperity of Liberia are found in Arlington. Its people seek a Christian education, follow industrial pursuits, and fuse with the natives. Okay? So he's telling you what he thinks. We just need to be honest. It's okay to be, listen. I'm like I said, this is my bread and butter. But I understand that I'm constantly learning. But again, you have to come with an open mind and you have to be willing to say, listen to other people. Because how many people in the conscious community, they don't listen to other people? They don't come with good intentions or bring good energy. They bring feel good energy, but they don't bring good energy. And there's a difference. Feel good may not be good because it's how you feel. Good energy means it's productive. But I'll let somebody else speak. Holla, Emoja, you guys can have it.
Emoji, you there?
I am there. Peace with the family. Hello.
Peace, bro. Did you have something you wanted to input on this subject? New Jack consciousness?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I just came in. I was listening to Jabari, and I was trying to like catch up, but I don't know where y'all was at. I didn't hear the intro, so yeah, I didn't want to just come in talking. I don't know what the hell going on.
Well, let me read it back to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The title is called New Jack Consciousness. And the description is, why is it that the people who just discovered Black African Cultural Consciousness a hot minute ago position themselves as the realest and most uncompromising people in the room? Do these people believe they are more qualified than people who have scars from battling the hypocrisy and contradictions of the so-called conscious community and burning the midnight oil for land, infrastructure, and nationhood for decades? Join the AIO as we tackle the subject of New Jack consciousness. And Jabari was just pointing out that these are the people are the most toxic in the conversation. These are the reason why we can't make any progress.
I definitely agree with that. I know I had a similar experience personally, and how I attribute it to like somebody who, if anybody who is either like a religious person, for instance, like, and I'll use Christianity because that's the religion that I probably studied the most, maybe. And when you learn about like a new religion or some new info, you get so excited about it, you maybe even fall in love with it, and I'm gonna be the next great priest or preacher or deacon or bishop, right? And so you going and spreading the good news. I think the thing that where it gets twisted with us is that when it comes to like the Black conscious stuff, we like kind of almost ejaculate over the knowledge. Like, I'm going to tell you how much I know. I'm going to tell you how smart I am. And then that's going to make me feel good. And that's going to stroke my ego. And all the while, no work is getting done. Like we have, that's why when people start talking history, I'll be like, okay, bro, okay, what are we going to do about the future? All the history. And then they say all the straw, oh, well, if you don't know your history, you're bound, all that stuff. And I just get irritated because I'm like, okay, but do you know how many historians we have? We historians, archaeologists, paleontologists. Man, we got all of these ologists, but we have no nationalists. How about we talk about the future, y'all? You know, so that's the only thing. It's like it's more of an ego. It's more of an ego stroke as an edification. Go ahead, Jay.
And emotion, notice is right. Notice how they tell their version of history, and they are uncomfortable with other people's opinions of history and their versions of history. They think
Jabbar.
their version of history is the only
Right,
true, correct version of history.
right. And you said something that's really important, because that's another thing. Like, when you learn something, that's some new information, and you fall in love with it, now nobody can tell you anything contradictory about your Jesus. Nobody can tell you anything contradictory about your Buddha, about your whoever it is. And I'm just saying these names. I don't care about nobody's religion. I promise you I don't. Love who you, all that other stuff, right? I'm just giving an example. Nobody can tell most people anything about about their beliefs. That's one of the hardest things, right? So I'm gonna stand on mine, and now we just having basically a dick measuring contest about who has the most information about what we believe. And no work is getting done though. And at the end of it, everybody just turn their backs on each other, and then we start banging on each other about these different concepts, and nothing is getting done. And everybody's looking at us like, look at these idiots. They're
Which is
clowns.
the
And notice
goal.
what you
Like
said
clowns.
in emotion. And emotion, notice what you said, contrary to the worldview, opposing the worldview. You push back, and they immediately start calling you names. They immediately start resorting to straw man arguments. They do that the minute you oppose their point of view. And listen, I am comfortable with information that opposes my worldview. But the difference is that I'm open and I'm considering it. Doesn't mean that I have to eventually accept it or agree with it, but I'm at least pondering and considering it. Like, hey, yo, bro, look at it from this perspective. How many times, Holland, have we heard from when we want to go to Liberia? They say, listen to their perspective. Come with an open mind. Come with a different perspective. We're not locked in on our perspective, where if we have the slightest disagreement or somebody pushes back, we automatically just start lashing out and getting defensive. No, we understand everybody's not going to agree with our stance, our opinion. But we want to have something that is healthy. Listen, it's okay to disagree. It's okay. Listen, I don't have the same opinion, but we have the same intentions that we want to see Liberia great. We want to see African Americans succeed. We want to see Liberians succeed.
I think.
And
Let me
keep in mind,
go ahead, big bro. Please go ahead.
I was just going to say, keep in mind the purpose and the goal of all of this is for there to be no progress. That's the reason why these people exist. It's intentional. It's not an accident.
Yeah, finish, please finish.
It's intentional. Because every time a good momentum gets going, somebody comes in with some bullshit to stop the motion.
Tariq Nasheed.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Like, people don't understand. I guess y'all do, but a lot of people think that I'm negative because when I hear certain things, it just triggers me. It bothers me. Like when I hear when I listen to Umar Johnson, I got to be honest, and I don't want to. It's not a personal thing against him. I don't want this to be like it's a personal attack, but it's the style that I just can't stand. I can't stand when we get these guys, yo, and what you don't know is it the dot dot dot. I don't want to hear your bullshit. I don't want to hear you describing our ass kickings no more.
Again, Hollop, it comes down to what? Like what happened? Like I said, what happened? Energy. You come in with your toxic energy, bro. They're the minute somebody comes in, whether not it be my Twitter space or they come or onto the live stream, I instantly can get a feeling of whether or not you bring good energy or bad energy within like the first minute. I can tell when we're having a conversation whether or not this person is going to bring good energy or they're bringing bad energy, because I'm listening to everything. It's not just you talking. People listen not just to the words just to what you're saying. It's how you're saying it, the type of words you're using, and all of that comes into how people receive your message. It's not just, well, I'm speaking the truth. Well, how are you conveying that message? What words are you using? How is your tone like? Because how what you do with all of that is going to determine how it comes across and whether or not people think you have good energy or bad energy. Because, like I said, Hollow, and like you said, they're meant to disrupt progress. What happened earlier? We were having a good, productive conversation. We were on the same accord that we needed to work together that we needed to build Liberia, that we needed to do all of this. He comes in and he completely destroys the energy, sucks the vacuum out the room, and now he's the center of attention. Now we're talking about him.
That's what they always do. That's the whole point.
I think
That's
I
what
know who
that's
you're
what the
talking about.
blackity black.
I
That's what the
think
blackity black stuff comes from.
I think I know you're talking about too, Barry and Hollow, because when I came on, I seen that they came on around the same time, and I just dipped because I was kind of busy, and I was like, "Yep, I don't even want to listen." So, but I wish I did, so I could have witnessed it. But I think I know who y'all talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter because it's the same person. It's not like it's a new thing. It's the
Yeah.
same person in many different forms.
What you say? They named Legion, and they are many.
Yeah, it's the same old thing. But like I find it interesting that that's the focus of attention is your deepness. Your deepness is the focus. So fuck progress. Fuck a future for our people. It's all about everybody knowing how intelligent you are.
But that's
Really?
literally it. Yes, yes, no,
Really?
holler, yes, yes, sir. And then when see like look at it like look at the social media, the like influx and influence that social media have on society is monumental. I don't think we understand. I know I really don't understand the severeness of it, really. But
Hmm.
when you, oh my God, sorry, my phone started ringing. Stop. But when you look at it, but when you shit, sorry y'all, my dang phone started ringing and just messed my whole thought process up. My bad, y'all.
So what he got knocked off? Hello? Oh, he went on mute. Yeah. Um. Damn, I was thinking about something that
My
just went
bad.
right
Yeah,
out of my head.
my bad. I'm driving and my phone started ringing and messed up my whole thing because I'm on my phone. But
Hmm.
what I was getting to is though that like the the destruction of black people is an entertainment genre, and and that's across everything. When you look at sports, you'll see the players wearing Black Lives Matter jerseys and Black Lives Matter in the end zone. You got movies about everything from the Underground Railroad to 12 Years a Slave. The music now, I heard somebody coming out with an album that's an FBA album, like an actual rapper coming out with an FBA album. Like our oppression can make you very popular and make you literally rich. So once people find that out, most people it's okay as long as they getting clicks and views on YouTube, they feeling great and they feel like they doing something. Black power, like straight up. So when you got we got so many things going against us, man, that the focus just at like if there's something that's in our view and in our face that we see that can work to get us to where we want to go, that has to be the focus. Because if we focus our energy on everything that's in our way, we'd be too busy talking about that to be working. And that's the sad part about it. For real, for real.
Right.
You said it, Ali. We've naturalized our own destruction. Just like
People have naturalized our own destruction.
well,
Yeah.
said you said something a few weeks. I heard it before, but you had
Uh-oh.
only people who within their reality. Like you showed the video about the dude talking about, oh yeah, chips. They chipping you. You're giving the chips. The chips is
Yeah, that's the stuff that I can't stand. I can't stand that. Like you're gonna break down. Oh, see the mark of the beast. You know the Illuminati. Oh, all of this stuff that is a bunch of waste. It's like useless. It ain't even knowledge. It's just nonsense that goes nowhere. But at the end of it, you can go, oh wow, that was deep. Ooh, that brother gets knowledgeable. That brother knows. That's what the whole purpose of those rants are for. It's never for anything productive. One of the things that I liked about Malcolm, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. When I listened to Malcolm, I didn't get the sense that Malcolm was talking so that you can know how intelligent he was. I think I got the sense that he was really passionate about making you understand what's going on. That's what it felt like to me. For somebody who never was into the knowledge, nobody who wasn't a scholar, whatever, I would listen to him and it felt like, God, this guy is trying to get us to understand something.
Who is it? Who is it again? You had cut
Malcolm.
out. Oh
Malcolm.
yeah. Exactly. And that's what, now when you say something like black people are the only people who live who live with injustice woven into their reality, that's not you trying to drop a mic. That's not you trying to get people to like dick ride. That's you trying to get people to open their eyes to say this is not okay. We don't
Right.
have to live like this. Literally, simple as that. This is not okay, and we don't have to live like this.
Right.
Simple as that.
Like when I do everything that I do, I'm hoping that somebody does for me, like I can do for somebody what Amos did for me.
But don't nobody want to see the issue is though, and the Western society has made it like that people do not like to be uncomfortable, particularly in speech. Don't tell me about the pain. Tell me about good things. Tell me about the next first black woman who be a police chief in the South. Tell me that. Let me clap
Yeah,
about something.
in
Tell me about the
2020.
next, tell me about the next new black owned business. Right, but don't tell me about how we got this spending power and nothing is changing in our communities. Please don't tell me that. Just tell me we have a $2 trillion spending power so I can be happy about that. Say that we got money. And that's our issue. We want to feel good, man. We just want to feel good and feel included, and we're good. And that's
And
the truth.
and the things that people are impressed by have never impressed me. Like there's somebody put up a post and they had a picture of Kanye, Diddy, and Jay-Z together. And they're like, wow, look at black excellence. And I'm like, really?
Exactly.
That's your idea of black excellence? Give me Amos Wilson. I'll take Amos Wilson over 6 of those dudes.
Amos Wilson, Khalid Muhammad. Then I throw in PLO Lumumba just to get a continental. But it's so many other people. Yeah, so many other people. You can put a picture up of Amos Wilson and the majority of people will have no idea, man.
Right.
They all know who they are.
And I want to be clear.
More
I
disgusting?
want to
Let's
be
get on
clear.
that right.
Wait, hold on, Jabari. Hold on. Chill. I want to be clear. This ain't an attack on those brothers. I'm not attacking Jay-Z. I'm not attacking Kanye. I'm not attacking Diddy. What I'm saying is it just gives us an indication of where our priorities are. What do we value as a people? And we don't value the people that we should be valuing. We value people that really, and on the grand scheme of things, really don't give a fuck about us. They're good. Their family's taken care of. They are right. But the people that's out here who have literally died giving knowledge, died analyzing and breaking down how we can make things better, died. And the only people that's really honoring them is us.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but what I wanted to say was, what's even more sinister? You got people who will be FBA and ADOS, but will have a Malcolm X as their profile picture. I kid you not. Dude was an FBA ADOS man and has Malcolm X as his profile picture.
Actually, isn't it a conversation within their circles that Malcolm X wasn't really black?
Yep. They're doing Tupac too. They going so crazy saying Tupac wasn't African American.
I want to repeat that. I want to repeat that just so that everybody can just take it in and just smell what Hollop is cooking. Malcolm X is not black. Malcolm X is not black. And you expect me to have a conversation with you after that?
We have similar problems. I'd be ready to snap. So I don't even engage. Straight up, I don't even engage because I don't want to engage with you. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing.
Wow. But he's not black, but you are. You're the person who's saying he's not. You're the representation of blackness. That's why I have that picture with the handle, the gatekeeper thing. Because that's what they see themselves as. Like they're the
And here's the
gatekeepers
thing.
of blackness.
And here's the crazy thing, right? Okay, so you say Malcolm X ain't black. You say Malcolm X ain't that, but you have him as your profile pic. How can you be FBA ADOS and have Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, all these people as your profile pics when their ideologies were straight up would be against you? They would be condemning you right now if they was alive.
Here's another thing. How do you say that we're not African, yet when you give examples of excellence, you use an African history? I don't think there were no pyramids. The Great Pyramids wasn't in America. So what? Like the kings and queens weren't in America, because they'll say we're not African. Then they'll say, oh well, we were kings and queens. No, we weren't.
You're
There were no
you're
kings
wrong.
and queens in America.
Holla, you're wrong. Okay, the Mississippi River is really the Nile River,
Yeah,
first of
I
all,
know. I know.
and it's all American. Thank you, sir. So let's get the facts straight,
My
okay?
bad. My bad.
And that's all we need to talk. That's all we need to talk about. It's really mad. It's maddening, man. It's maddening.
Yeah, Malcolm X wasn't black. Paul Kagame is not a great African leader. So give me your reference. Like, what is it going to take, man? What is it going to take? Everybody got so much to say, but when things start making progress and you see progress is being made, then all of a sudden everybody wants to jump up and give an opinion. Where was your opinion during the genocide in Rwanda? What was your solution to the problem? What did you implement to solve that situation? I mean, the arrogance of these people, man. And it's really infuriating when I hear people talking about we are American, we're Native American. So then where's your power base? Because last time I checked, the United States government is not Native American. There's an
Holla,
entity in your land that's collecting taxes from you.
holla. Let me show you just how dedicated our people are to quote unquote the struggle. You have FBA and ADOS upset at Lupita Nyong'o for saying that Africans don't focus much on black identity in Africa because they live in an all black or majority black society. So therefore, they don't focus on race the way that Black Americans and African Americans or those in Western society do. And the FBA and ADOS are like, see, this is why they can't be called black, because they primarily identify with their ethnic group in Africa.
And what she said was just a no-brainer.
Exactly.
Objective fact.
We live in a black country. Holla, if you
I'll give you, you know what? I'll give you an example to show you and I'm gonna. It's kind of like throwing myself and our people under the bus, but I think it makes the point. When we were going to Rwanda, right? Mm-hmm. One of the brothers that was on the trip, when we were talking about it, he said, "Man, I can't wait to get to I can't wait to get to Rwanda because I want to support the black businesses." And I said to him, I was like, "Bro, going to Rwanda, all the businesses is black. You ain't got to make no special effort. It's a black country." But you see what I'm saying? He didn't mean no harm by it, but that's the programming.
Exactly. And you know what was absolutely powerful that somebody said is that they said FBA and ADOS are upset that Africans can form an identity outside of white people.
Yep. Because the white man is God to these people.
Africans, Like, let's be real. Africans, we like to go like Africans ain't pro-black and all that stuff and all that stuff. I'm like, bruh, most African people in rural villages in some places have not seen a white person in their life. They ain't thinking about white people.
Yeah, the white man is God. You didn't know that? White man is God to these people. I've heard like, and I can play audio where I've had conversations with people is telling me there's nowhere on the planet that you can go without being affected by white people. So then my question is, so then what is this struggle all about, really? What are you fighting? Because you're telling me that your opponent is unbeatable. So what's the reason for the fight? Who are you, why are you fighting against him?
Everyone's gonna laugh at me. Everyone's gonna laugh at me.
Gee whiz, man. It's like everything is about white people, and
And
they
what
can,
do
like
and
you
what
said,
do
they cannot
African
escape white
Let me
people.
and what
let
do
me tell
African people and what do African people on the continent say about Black Americans? We always revolve our very universe about white people. Like, why do y'all keep talking? Like, they don't understand because when you live in a black country, they're irrelevant.
let me say this. Let me say this, y'all, because since we're human beings, we have an ego. And since we're particularly, I'm gonna speak about us black men, particularly since we're black men in America and black manhood is always under attack and it always has been. We like to kind of like exacerbate manhood and kind of like, I'm trying to not mince my words but speak correctly, but we try to make our manhood seem bigger than it maybe is sometimes. So
Mm.
in that same light, if I already have a low self-esteem about my manhood and I'm using this black powerism as a form of machoism, right? However, when somebody with sense says, sir, I get you about this black power stuff, but look, why are we fighting something where we're not really fighting when we could actually be men, be actual men and leaders and kings, and go and develop something for our people, for our women and children and elders? That's what a man would actually do. They can't admit that we're right because they will be admitting that they're scared or
Hmm.
they're scared or that they're weak or that they don't believe that they can actually do it, y'all. And this is something that they will not admit. So knowing this, me personally, Umoja, I have to leave them alone because I just get angry now.
They're
I
gonna
get
leave
angry.
you
I've been doing
alone.
it for 50 years, right? But that's the truth, though, y'all. I promise you, that's the truth. I can't admit to you that I'm wrong about this because that's
They're gonna
admitting
leave
that I
you
am a
alone, man.
pussy. Straight up,
They're gonna
I'm admitting
they're gonna
that I'm a
leave.
coward. I admit that. I can't do
They,
that.
they're gonna leave you alone. That's what's gonna happen. They if you notice, they don't really attack us. We even remember a couple of weeks ago, we opened up the forum and said, hey, challenge us. There's a reason for that. Because they do not want to go down that slippery slope. They
Paula, we
don't
had
want to
somebody.
fucking do it.
Paula, remember, we had somebody in our Twitter space, in my Twitter space, what, like a week or two ago, that said we should be American. Remember him?
Hmm. Well, he was kind of half-assing. Had he said we should be American, I probably would have respected him because most of them really want to be American. But what he was on some like half-ass stuff. You want to be in America, but you want to have this black existence inside of America, some separate black thing inside of the American context. Good luck with that. How's that been working out for you? Historically, how's that been working out for you? I mean, at least we want to try something different.
It's the absolute truth. They base their entire FBA and ADOS based African American identity entirely based off of our relation to white people. African people, because like I said, they live in a black country, they can formulate an identity without bringing up white people. They can talk about their culture, their heritage, and form an identity without having. You can literally talk to an African person right now and say, "What does it mean to be African?" And they won't bring up anything to do with white people. Not
Man,
one thing.
But
y'all,
you know what? I will say this though. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. You mentioned.
we, we started at the same time. Please, you go.
I was going to say the problem to me is that there is a middle ground. But the problem is that the wrong people are involved in the conversation. if that makes any sense. I think that we have an issue with, and when I say we, I hate even saying that, but Black folks in America, particularly FBA and ADOS, have put the white man at the nucleus of their atom. So they can't possibly think about anything that they can have an existence outside of white people. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, I don't think that Africans truly understand how white people operate because they haven't been around them like we have. So a lot of times, like they assign goodwill to people who have no goodwill because of their nature. So there is a middle ground. I think that people like us can give a perspective to the continental African on what type of people they're actually making deals and dealing with, because we know them like the back of our hand. But at the same time, we don't have them at the center of our universe like these other idiots do. Does that make any sense?
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, and that's my fear. That's one of my biggest concerns about us as African people. Continental Africans are so sweet, they're so nice, and they get taken advantage of for that reason. And it turns my.
I think part of the reason why Africans are taken advantage of is our situation, poverty. If African people did not have to worry about poverty, we would not be getting tricked in food. Because when people are struggling to make ends meet, they'll take anything. So it's easy to exploit somebody. If our people were being taken care of, boom, you ain't got to worry about Africans being taken advantage of, because they're like, man, what you gonna do for me? I already got everything I need. I got my health care. I got access to education. I got food on the table. I got all that, jobs, employment, everything. So therefore, that whole aid can't be used or weaponized against Black people. That's really why Africans are taken advantage of. Poverty, the economic situations that they are in.
Yeah, and they're impoverished for a reason. It's by design.
Exactly, and that's where it comes down to. And we all know it's all about the leadership. That's what it all comes down to, for real. And it's sick. It just bothers me, man, that it seems like we just not forward thinkers, like straight up, like. And I think let me give my off the handle theory about that. I do believe that we really are like the quote unquote universal healers and everything else, and like the mothers and fathers of civilization. And in that time, we was planted in a literal Garden of Eden kind of environment, and we didn't need to fight shit. We didn't need to do nothing but learn how to live and build a wonderful civilization, and that's what we did. And that shit is still passing down from years and years. And then you got these people coming in tormenting and torturing you, so you're even more fucked up. So yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, the book. You ever read that book, Jabari, The Iceman Inheritance? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Did you ever read that book, The Iceman Inheritance?
No, I haven't.
You should definitely check that book out. Definitely check it out, because it goes in line with what Jamoja was just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like we came from an environment of abundance, and there's a reason why the African has the mentality that they do, because they didn't come from a culture where they had to hoard resources. You know what I'm saying? Where they had to fight and scrap and stuff like that. So that's the culture that these people come from, to the point where they've been in power for a very long time and they still hoard shit. Money doesn't circulate in their society because everybody just got it all caught up in their own little banks and under their mattresses and shit. They hoard everything. They don't share shit. Even when they have abundance, they don't share it. They don't even share it with their own people. Their own people are sitting here crying about universal health care and single payer this and all that other stuff. They're like, man, fuck you. They don't care about their own people. And black folks think they're going to do something for us.
Exactly. And like I said, how many times do we have to say that Liberians said they want us there? As long as we connect with the people they want us there.
Yep. And I have faith in our people, man. I think that I don't think that any intelligent person wants to be ripped off and fucked over.
Holla though. And then this is the stinger. And again, I promise you, I don't care what the hell you believe in, particularly as long as you believe in nationhood and you're willing to work about it, right? But the stinger is that at the end of it, people will literally say it's in God's hands and this is God's will. There's many of our people who literally live in that reality that this is God's will, and they just gonna keep on getting their ass whooped till infinity.
What about the people that say the black man is God?
Show me when. Them too. No, seriously, them too have been bitten with that.
Exactly.
With that same apple. They've been bitten with that same apple. That nope, God got it. We got, and we just gonna wait for the white man to crumble by osmosis or something. You know, by natural selection. Eventually, they'll just die off, and then we gonna take over.
Isn't that funny?
That's the God mode. Instead of doing it to yourself, instead of actually planning and organizing like every other race do.
Isn't that funny though? Like we're gonna leave it in God's hand, and then you said, "What?" But you say the black man is God. Well, we gotta wait for the white man. So the black God gotta wait for the white man before he does anything. No matter how you slice it, white people is at the nucleus of the atom, boy. Everything revolves around white. You cannot do anything. The white man is worse than Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice that even when Thanos had the Infinity Gauntlet, the Avengers still fought him? They didn't just say, "Oh shit, he got the gauntlet. Ugh, I guess we're fucked." They still fought, and they won.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we don't feel that we can win. We don't even feel that we need to organize. We don't even need to feel. We don't feel the need to even put ourselves in a position to win.
And my thing is, we have our own country.
Yep.
It's like, bruh, we have people that we literally have the perfect spot in Liberia, and folks just can't like rap. Like, it's hard. It's not hard for somebody. It's just there is a section of black folks that don't want to make it come into fruition. That we can be an independent republic. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
How can a black man be okay with white rule? Ask ADOS and FBA.
Exactly. They comfortable with being American, comfortable with the system. Okay.
Because literally, they are comfortable with white people being in control of all the pillars of society and being in control with their existence. They are comfortable with that.
And here's the thing: it's not like we voluntarily came here. It's different if these were black folks who came to America. We came here voluntarily and all that stuff. Then, hey, we're in their house. We're a guest. You know, we have to assimilate and do that stuff. But we came here against our will.
I want to make a point too that I know some people hear us talking and they be thinking that we like quit your job right now, pack up everything, leave your family, and don't take nothing with your food on the way. No. Be wise, be smart. Like if you can make $30 million while you're here in America, do it and start building something here. Ever make something for our people in the future away from this land. Listen, y'all, America is crumbling. Have y'all been paying attention to how Russia and China and now even India are working together to get rid of the dollar? They're starting to use minerals and natural resources as currency. Is y'all paying attention to that? All that is doing is saying, you know what, we can't beat America with all these military bases they have over the world, but you know what we can do? We can change how the world currency is working. And America is not going to be able to compete with that. And what do you think is going to happen to us, y'all?
You know what, Emotion? Let me add to your point. Oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just like, that was a disgusting sigh at how crazy we appear to be as black men. I'm talking to us men. This is our shit, right? This is our alpha male asses. Those, I'm talking to us. Fuck is we gonna do except be alpha males for ourselves to get some pussy? Fuck out of here, y'all. It's time. It's time, alpha males. Let's build something for our people, alpha males. Hello, you strong motherfuckers.
They ain't there. They don't want to take the challenge. They don't want to take the challenge. But let me add further, Umoja. What they said was after the United States put sanctions on Russia, countries around the world realized we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our stability. We should not allow a country to dictate the global currency and have the power to literally withhold your own money. That's what the world learned. We're not going to let the United States slap sanction on us anytime they want to if they disagree with us or they don't like what we do. That's called being strategic. You have to look out for your own interest. Like I said, there's okay to have alliances. It's okay. Listen, I'm one of the biggest proponents of alliances, but here's the difference. You do an alliance that matches your interests and goals. Hey, but at the end of the day, like what Halep said, it comes down to what's the black agenda. You can't make an alliance if you ain't got no agenda. Like people get upset that Africa's being carved up and all this stuff, and all these people coming here. It's like, bro, what is Africa's agenda? What is the goal? We wouldn't be chaotic if we had a goal and we knew what we were fighting for and striving for. Just the other day, you got Artemis. America's trying to take folks to the moon. China is trying to go to the moon. Russia going to the moon. India is going to the moon. What African country is saying we want to go to the moon? We're going to go to Mars.
Ollie, that is a cold statement. I think that's a quotable, sir. I think I'm gonna have to quote that, and I'm gonna give Ollie credit too. Seriously.
Is that what's on the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He didn't drop the man. It's all kind of great comments in the comment section. But that I looked at that and was like, yeesh, yeesh.
Yeah, because like I said, it's about, they always talk about, like these alpha men talk about how women don't like accountability. Isn't that rich?
And also, I would like to say this. Number one, an alpha male doesn't need to keep telling the world he's an alpha male.
Right.
They just do it. They just do it. Like, hey,
right.
we need to get stuff done. We need to hold ourselves accountable.
Right. That's how it always is. Like you have a group of people, a leader emerges simply by their actions. He doesn't have to make any special announcement that he's a leader. People will see by the way that he's behaving and handling himself, and they say, let's follow this guy because he seems to know what he's doing. But, you know, like I said, and this is the reason why I already know why I'm not liked. I'm so clear of why I'm not liked, because what they don't like is when you call them and make them face their bitchness. They don't want to do that. They want to pretend like they the man, that they super intelligent, that they got it all figured out. Well, if you got it all figured out, why are your people in the position that they're in? Why don't we have any socioeconomic and political power? Why? Why have you ceded this whole reality, not just America, but the whole world, over to the white man?
Here, bro, let me say this real quick, because you said a phrase. You said a phrase that made me think of something. I know that I don't have all the answers, but I don't have a shadow of a doubt in my mind that together we absolutely can solve our issues. I know I can't do this shit by myself. I can fix several of my personal issues by myself. Factual would be great. But to fix our issues as a people, man, if we come together, I'm talking about to the Moors, Pakistanis, the Christians, the Muslims, you know, all of us come together and actually talk about this shit and figure it out. We can figure it out pretty quickly. That's it.
I want to put something on the screen. Maybe this will sink in. Maybe. Maybe it'll sink in. Maybe you get the magnitude of what we're trying to do.
Oh, oh, hold on. We need to talk that because I finished Red Hollow, The Black Bourgeoisie. I just finished that book, and there's one thing at the end that just says it all. I need to figure out what it is. This right here, and what you guys mean by purpose in our people, this from the black. Let me share my screen because this is, I mean, the Black Bourgeoisie that needs to be read by every black household. Every black household needs to read that book. Like, yeah, I like right. I love that book. I mean, it's so much truth to it. It says right here. It says Gertrude Stein would have been nearer the truth if she had said of the black bourgeoisie what she said of Negroes in general, that they were not suffering from persecution, they were suffering from nothingness. Not because, as she explained, the African has a very ancient but very narrow culture. The black bourgeoisie suffers from nothingness because when Negroes attain middle class status, their lives generally lose both content and significance.
It's an empty life. I just recently, like I had played a clip, and this was ironically from a white dude who said this, and he was talking to these guys who were talking about, I think it was a young cat who said that his ambition is to have a mansion and have 20 bitches that he's fucking. And he just pointed out, I'm paraphrasing because I can't say everything, but he basically said that when he's become independently wealthy, he's like over $1 million, but when he thinks about what the important things is in his life, it's not the new car that he brought or some new thing or some material. It's the relationships that you have with the people that's closest to you, the moments that you share with them. Those are the things that you think about. When you're on your deathbed, you ain't thinking about no fucking BMW. When you're on your deathbed, you ain't thinking about the 20 bitches that you fuck. You're thinking about the one relationship that you had where you actually had something meaningful between you and another person.
Dang.
So people is out here chasing absolute bullshit. And that quote right there just solidifies the point. What are we doing? What is the whole purpose? That's why I said, what's the end game? There's a reason why I asked that question, because I want people to start thinking about it. Amos Wilson was the one who showed me that it isn't just about doing shit, because like everybody, like he's that quote where he says, freedom is doing what I want to do. It's about knowing why is it that you want to do what you want to do. What is the purpose of the meaning behind that? Are you the one making that decision, or are you following along with what somebody else's program is telling you? Why do you do what you do? And if you're not asking that question, that means that you're thinking really one-dimensional, and you're not going to be a really good chess player in this game of life. Anyway, I think we should end this. We put in over an hour and something. Plus, are we doing the Discord tonight? Because I'm free. I'm not working tonight.
We can do the Discord, but there is one thing else from the Black Bourgeoisie Gospel that I would like to share with you guys about what you guys are talking about. Manhood. This is back from 1963, and he said it. Again, everybody need to read that book. It's mandatory reading. He says, as a result of not being able to play the masculine role, middle class Black men have tended to cultivate their personalities, which enable them to exercise considerable influence among whites and achieve distinction in the Negro world. So they use Negro. I just like using the word black. I don't like using the word Negro. But it says among Black people, they have been noted for their glamour. In this respect, they resemble women who use their personalities to compensate for their inferior status in relation to men. This fact would seem to support the observation of an American sociologist that the Negro was the lady among the races, if he had restricted his observation to middle-class males among American Negroes.
He sound like he been listening to Mr. Holipsism.
What else got to be said?
Sound like he been listening to some of my content. Because that's what I've said. He was a lot more articulate than me, but I basically said, in short, that Black men are comfortable being the wives of white men. They find richness by being associated with their rich husband. So if they can hold on to his arm and he's rich, then they're rich by association. That's their idea of power. That's the idea of power. Think about it. When I was listening to when Kevin Samuels was out, and he was having this argument with this white woman, and he said, "Men built the world," and I've said to myself, "What men are you talking about? Are you talking about us?" Because somehow I don't think you were. So you're going to sit up there and take credit for this country and take credit for this society? Really?
That we don't control, we don't run, we don't own the wealth, we don't own none of that, but you're going to take credit for it.
Men. Well, all men ain't created equal. Despite that piece of paper.
And what he's saying ain't I mean, everything, like I said, everything in that book that man says, we see it today. We see it today. Basing it off of personality, not based on actually building anything. Nothingness. And what you were saying again, Holla, like you said, sound like he's been listening to you. Another thing else that they brought up was the fact that Black folks back in the day, especially Black people in the upper class, would care more about societies and trivials and frivolities instead of actually building. They would care more about playing poker than they cared about mastering science or mastering art. They would buy all these books, but they would never read them. They would have all of these shoes, but they would never wear them. And that's what our people are like.
And look at what we preaching now. Now we're preaching high value men. Where what are you basing high value on is what? Money. Mm-hmm. You can't even say status. You can't even say status because it's not status. It's money. It's your ability to be the rich slave. You're more valuable than those other slaves because you have more resources and more money. Mm-hmm. But you don't have no fucking power.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? And like Ali said, he broke it down. What you just said, how a minute ago. The only reason why they kept spending money because they wanted to maintain status or the illusion of status because they were at the bottom of American society.
The illusion of status. Mm-hmm. Did you see like Dr. Dre is worth $1 billion, right? Mm-hmm. Some regular old white boy was able to get him shut down by the police in his own gated community.
Yep.
So there goes that.
It's what Holla, like you said, it's one of the things we try so hard to try to figure out how we can live in America and say, you know what, this is not a good environment. This is not we're trying so hard. It's ridiculous. It's like Holla, what you were saying, because what you were talking about with future generations. This is what I mean. And like he said, read the book, everybody. But this right here was what really disgusted me. I mean, how many times have we seen black parents do this? This is the black parent. Not all, but some. Okay. There we go.
Were you screen sharing?
Yeah, I'm trying to screen share for a second. The mouse is getting a little thing for a second. Okay. There we go. Right? So it says right here, it says, there is an attempt on part of parents in middle-class families to shield their children against racial discrimination and contempt of whites for colored people. Sometimes the parents go to fantastic extremes, such as prohibiting the use of the words Negro or colored in the presence of their children. They sometimes try to prevent their children from knowing that they cannot enter restaurants or other public places because they are Negroes or black, or they eat, or that their schools they attend are segregated schools for Negroes. Okay? And I want you to this is what I mean when you don't teach and you try so hard to try to fit yourself in this American system instead of showing what it actually is. This is from a young teenager who's about to go into the adult world. Okay, he's 17 years old at the time. He says this: offhand, I said no, but actually knowing all these things that are thrown up to you about white people being superior, that they look more or less down upon all Negroes, that we have to look to them for everything we get, that they'd rather think of us as mice than men. I don't believe I or any other Negro can help but feel inferior. My father says that it isn't so, that we feel only inferior to whom we feel are superior. But I don't believe we can feel otherwise. Around white people, until I know them for a while, I definitely feel out of place. Once I played a ping pong match with a white boy whose play I know wasn't as good as mine. And the boys he managed to beat, I beat with ease. But I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I was playing a white boy. Sort of an Indian sign on me, you know.
And we would rather put our children through that nonsense than to have a nation of our own where they don't have to deal with that nonsense, where you don't have to deal with, let me shred every ounce of blackness and African off of me so I can exist in this society. Cut your hair, cut your locks off, cut your beard, do this, do that, take away your African sounding name, do all just take away anything that identifies you culturally as who you fucking are so that you can exist in somebody else's society. And that's what you want for your children?
And they still gonna deal with racism.
That's what you want for your children. But I'm not discouraged because you guys exist. And as long as y'all exist, I know that there's hope. So we just leave on that note.
All right, fam. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and sign up to the website.
Yes, sir. Love you, all of y'all, brothers and sisters. I'll holler at y'all later. See you at the Discord.
See you too.
Peace.